Make start. There we go. Any apologies?
None received, everybody's here.
Good. Any declarations of interest? Nothing from me. Minutes of the previous meeting. Are we all happy with the previous minutes?
Yep. Could I have a proposer, please?
Oh, sorry.
Second.
Rachel, sorry.
Anyway, don't mind.
All agreed?
Yep. Yes.
Initial each page.
Yeah, slightly, yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
Transactions for payment.
There will be some more once they come in.
Oh yeah, always is, isn't it? So £12,810. That's wrong.
12,810, yes?
I get confused because it says outstanding purchase orders.
Yes, the way I have to do it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So we want to do 10 of these then?
That's different. You can change the agenda order and put 44.
You do it now, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to do it now. doesn't it?
Has everybody agreed to change the agenda order?
Yeah.
I asked about the printer cartridges then.
Can you ask about that?
Printer cartridges,
Yes.
230 don't
Yes. There is a shortage of printer cartridges. I've tried everywhere, and the only place that had them was Brother themselves, and we were virtually out.
Okay.
And I've been waiting. But what I've done is I've set up alerts now. I'm still struggling to get a black one, and hopefully one will become available before it runs out. But it shouldn't really have. We can buy them cheaper, but at the moment we
It's what it is, I suppose, isn't it?
There's a national shortage, it's all over
Yeah.
the news about the cartridges.
Is it?
Yeah.
Supermarket shelves all empty, isn't they? So the ribbon works with the lanyards, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you want to choose any others? Protective clothing.
That
You beat me
is-
to it.
Sorry.
You didn't want to.
It's actually the first aid equipment. It was several items to fill up the first aid boxes.
Okay.
But when there's never been set up on this system or on our estimates as a separate item, first aid, but
Okay.
obviously we can sort that out next year.
Yeah.
So the only alternative was to put it under protective clothing.
Okay. Go on then, right.
Well, I was going to do the protective clothing one, because I thought that was quite an interesting name for it anyway. Wouldn't want to say it. The wave. Are we going to look at stop for them to come and have a proper reading instead of estimated bills?
Yeah, we've got the office here keeps being estimated, so I need to get into the water meter, which I can
Down the side path, just in the front path there, it looks like it's
there's
there.
something here somewhere.
Yeah, but I don't know whether that is anything to do with that.
Right.
When you look at as it comes in, there's the little round thing just on that path.
Okay.
I'm presuming that's where it is.
It's no good to keep being estimated
Yeah.
over years. Same with the
No, it does it
secretaries
because we
as
read
well.
in front or well behind.
Exactly. So that and protective clothing was going to be one too.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going around the table.
There's 3-4 parts for tractor. 2 of them are over 300 quid.
Okay, so the 2 that are over £300, parts for tractor, that's where we split between the two places, so when you get one invoice come in, you split half of it to cemeteries,
Half of it,
to
yeah.
parks.
So it was one invoice, yeah.
And it was
£660.
Kubota repairs, that includes VAT. Yeah, so it was Kubota repairs. And the other one was
£33.52.
parts for tractor. Let me have a look. Tell you. And then something like this.
What are we all on my open this, so they won't let me open it. And that says, can't open this file, I won't have permission.
Oh.
That's every month.
33.52 was locking bolts, worn bolts on blade deck, rendering unusable.
You did what you should have, Eddie.
My question would be then, if that's only, less than 6 months since they were serviced, are we going back to the people where they were serviced and asking questions?
I have asked the company that did the service for a full workshop report, but all they have is what's on the invoice because they put us down, we don't have an account with them.
I think we have a
Such.
list of stuff that was done,
Yeah.
but we don't know the condition of some of the items. So the full detail we can't get, but we can get a list of what was serviced. So,
Okay. So it's quite worrying that we're paying out quite large sums in such a short time after they're supposedly been serviced. So that either means that they've been misused or they weren't serviced correctly in the first place, to me.
It depends what the repairs actually was, wouldn't
Do we know what the repair was?
When were they done?
the one was the 17th, and one was the 20th.
Oh, sorry, no, I meant the original. Oh, this repair?
Yeah, this
Oh,
repair.
sorry, I thought you meant the original
Yeah.
one. Right, deck bearings failed. Fitters report, right hand side of deck digging in. Right hand blade bearings failed. Hoist up front of tractor to gain access to the underside of the deck and remove right hand blade. Remove right hand deck cover, release the belt, remove drive pulley and remove bearing holder. Strip holder and replace failed bearings, rebuild deck and blade, run and check.
So that was all of the belts and stuff and the
No, that was, the
Yeah.
parts were seal oil,
right.
bearing deep GR,
Yeah.
and there's an environmental charge where I guess they've taken out the
Just
oil.
over the oil.
Yeah. So
But
there's
the
no,
bearings should
but there has been a
be
couple
checked
of
with service.
belts
Lot of
been
belts.
ordered, but they're not on this list because I've had the tickets, but I haven't had the.
So that's also to add on to it.
So there's two been ordered, one to be used and one for stock.
Right.
There's something to keep an eye on.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's, to me, that's not good. And again, moving forward, if it's a job like that, I know it needed to be done, obviously it needed to be done, but surely we should get more than one price
We should have done
for
Yeah.
anything that
Yeah.
is substantial.
Well, we said anything over 250, haven't we? We've got
Mhm.
3 quotes for all, so.
Yeah.
If one computer is out of service, you do have
And the
backup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not as if we're going to be without a vehicle, is it?
It was mainly that spare parts that they wanted in that rather long email about bolts. If a bolt goes and he's cutting the grass and the sand.
Well, again, if it's a job that can be done by our own staff to maintain the stuff, then we should have a supply of the basic
Yeah.
things that we need, so you're not having to go and get them.
That's what I said to him in the email. He should have
Yeah.
a stock of the wear items.
So that
So that he's always got.
rockets and belts. So
Yeah.
we'll stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fine, we've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But if it's a job that can't be done by our staff, then
Didn't somebody say that he's not allowed to do repairs at the moment? Did I hear that from somebody?
It's an HR issue.
HR issue.
Is it okay?
So it needs to be,
We can take, do you want?
Should we take this further into closed session and then we can discuss it fully? Because,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah.
But
Can I
yeah,
have a proposer for closed session, please?
I'll propose.
Seconder? All agreed?
Yeah.
you're right. You should have a stock of
Yeah, basically.
items, yeah.
Yeah.
Same as his face masks and his WD-40. Anything else?
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, I think that covers 10 easily.
Well, Eddie can't get into it at the minute.
Oh, do you want to
Locked
have
me
a look?
out.
Do you want to have a look at the laptop?
No, it's fine. I think I looked at it before, but tonight they're running here. I don't know why.
Happy with that then?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And for the July payments, July invoices, August payments, could I have a proposer, please?
Oh, second.
So, all agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand why I write a month by the side?
I do.
Because some of them were agreed the month before.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I do. I did wonder about the card fee, because we're paying £32 a month.
No, not a month, that's a year, that's
Is
an
it?
annual fee. So
Ah,
you
okay.
pay one for me and one for the other card holder.
So that's £64 a year then.
Mhm.
You did, we were trying to think of the reasoning why we can't have a debit card, etc. weren't we? And it's because of the authorisations of the payments, isn't it? So we're going to have to stick with credit
Yeah.
cards. Yeah. That's fine.
And presumably we can't go to another credit card. Right, so presumably we can't use another credit card provider because this is linked to our business banking, or are we able to look into?
I don't know. No, so I can
Alternatives.
find out.
It's worth looking at.
Just to see if there's any less charges on something else?
It's all the costs from Waplow service station. Is that just for the
Fuel for the mowers.
fuel for the mowers?
Is everybody happy? Could I have a proposer, please? Seconder?
Yeah.
All agreed?
Yes.
Yep.
Bank reconciliation.
I updated it earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's sorry. You want to explain? Want me to explain?
You explain.
What I've done is, on the Barclays deposit account, I've created Barclays ring-fenced funds.
See.
So you add that to the business saver account to get what's actually in there. But I thought it was a good way of showing money that is allocated away from the general pot.
And that is the speed sign money, is it?
And the money for the inclusive equipment that was raised at the car show.
Brilliant, thank you.
I'll propose it.
Yeah,
I'll second.
all agreed?
Review of June payments and outstanding receipts and monthly budget review.
month, is it?
I did have a look this afternoon.
Mm.
Everything looks tickety boo to me.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, there's no alarm bell shout out, is
No.
I propose we accept it then.
I'll second.
All agreed?
Yep.
So the next one's review and agree to recommend to council the procurement procedure for spending under 250. We missed this when we did the big, what we've told the parks manager is if he wants to buy anything, he's got to get a purchase order first. For anything less than 250 obviously. But the aim is still got to try and get best value for money. It's not down to who he wants to use, it's
We've got we're doing a list of preferred suppliers, aren't we? So we're doing
Yeah.
local suppliers and then
Yeah.
getting
Well-
proper trade accounts with them.
Branch Brothers have said that they'll beat anybody else.
That's it. Unless you're asking, you can find out.
No, it's worth looking around, isn't it?
Have we approached any of the other ones that we use regularly to see what they're?
I've only asked Branch Brothers.
The couple of bits that have been needed over the last few days, I've contacted Hargreaves and I secured a bit of a discount on some stuff, but sadly they couldn't beat an online price. But at least we tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've not had any conversations with Tom Wood yet?
No.
I think we've got to give them all the chance.
We need to be having a conversation with them because they are one of the other ones that we use on a regular
Yeah.
basis. So if we can negotiate something, I don't know how much you would be able to negotiate, but at least explain the process to them so that
Yeah.
they're aware of what we are now doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to make life a lot easier for them as well,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. And we've been trialling the purchase orders, haven't we, over the
Yeah.
past few weeks, and it's been working well. So
Good.
yeah.
So we're all happy with that then?
Proposer, please.
I'll propose.
Penetration?
Second.
I'll second it.
All agreed?
Yeah.
To agree to sign the direct debit mandate for pizza.
Yeah,
That's,
you'll see on the list of payments that I paid BT on the credit card because we've set up the new account. It needed to be paid straight away.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to propose that one? No? Okay.
Yes.
Seconder, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. All agreed?
Yeah. To agree to recommend carry out stock checks in all departments. This for me is mainly aiming at parks manager, see what he's got sitting around and what stock he's got.
Again, probably an HR issue.
Okay. We defer that then.
Did you discover where your washing up liquid went?
No.
Can we still recommend it though, in this committee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can, can't we?
Yeah.
We can agree to recommend to carry out stock checks, which we said that we would just try and keep a stock of about 6 months worth of
Yeah.
stuff for everything.
Yeah, because you're going to get it at a cheaper price. Aren't you?
Yeah.
It says all departments, so yeah.
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 I don't know anywhere else that has stock of items.
Only here
Yeah.
and
There is quite a substantial stock of
Papers.
envelopes.
Is that?
Envelopes. and
Yeah,
paper.
we've definitely got 6
Yes.
months of paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to carry out stock checks, proposer please.
How often are you?
Twice a year.
Twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's sufficient, isn't it?
I'll propose it.
Are you on a set
Proposer,
month?
thanks Eddie.
You state in a month? So
I
that
think you
everybody
should-
knows.
It would need to be done before you.
I think it'd be before and after a season, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So probably March, I would think,
mm-hmm.
because that's just the end of the financial year, isn't it?
Yeah, and then
And then-
for office, that would just be, again, whenever is
Yeah.
suitable.
Would you think sort of latter part of the year is ready for
Ready
the
for doing your estimates,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
So
So
if
sort of
you
like
make it
October,
big,
November,
yeah.
something like that.
Mm.
So if we do it's March and November.
Because as well then it's out of season.
Yeah.
So,
Not technically.
Does
All
it
of
have
the
more time
related
to-
tasks, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have a second of that, please? All agreed?
Mhm.
Did you want to take some of that into closed session?
Is there any?
I did want to query one thing about
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
we've been buying.
So, can I have a proposer, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. All agreed?
yes.
Next one's to agree to carry out a fixed asset review. We should be doing that on an annual basis anyway, making sure that what we've got is still in a working condition and it's earning money for us, in effect. Again, that's only going to be,
Is that something that we should be doing at our annual meeting?
The main one?
Yes. Because I've read somewhere I can't remember where I read it, that it states about reviewing all of your assets and
Mhm.
things within that meeting.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I don't know whether it was in standing orders or whether it's something else I was reading.
Aren't all annual reviews supposed to be done at
They
that
should
time?
be done, yeah.
Yeah.
They should, but if we get into the habit of doing it,
so if we do it in April then,
Yeah.
ready for May.
yeah.
Do it May, so do April.
But there's only, what, 3 or 4 assets in here, isn't there? 2 printers and 2 laptops.
Also encompasses everything
Would
else, so
include
your
properties,
properties,
etc.
Yeah.
land, everything would
Yeah.
have to be reviewed.
Which we've got down to
Yeah,
do.
which we've got, yeah.
And
And
again,
it
there's
would
2 tractors.
be- Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you would have to have your inventory of everything that you
Yes.
have
Yeah,
done prior to that,
yeah.
which we have done that for this
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of making
Yeah.
sure it's
Which
carried on
again,
this
we
year.
do need to do reviews of machinery, etc. for health
Yeah.
and safety.
Oh, of course.
So it will all tie into that.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we don't have to double up on tasks that we're doing as well.
Exactly, ideal.
Okay, proposer, please.
Yeah.
Seconder? Who was that? Sorry. Thank you. All agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next one is to change the accounts for utilities at Holbridge Bank.
To the name of the user. So it
Yeah.
will go into the name of the football club.
Yeah.
What is actually stated on the lease about the water and electric?
Without looking at it,
I was going to say,
I
I
can't
don't
tell
know that,
you.
know it.
I believe, this is from memory, so without going back over it, they are liable for all of the
Yeah,
utilities.
I didn't know how it was worded.
But I do think we need to look at other areas of that, but that's in another section that we need
It
to
doesn't
look
make
at.
sense that they pay it.
Because
Well, they
I'm
do
sure-
pay it.
Yeah, they
I
pay
know.
it, but it is, normally that would be the process, because it's a sublease, so
Yeah.
everything would revert to whoever is the leasee, in the normal process,
Mm.
but it can be double checked. There are other,
Yeah, because at the
Need to be
moment we
double-checked.
pay out for it and
Mm.
then it's
They
a
pay
year,
back.
we'll have 18 months before. So what we charge them this month will be for the year 2020.
which doesn't make
Oh,
any sense,
right,
yeah.
okay.
Because normally what the process would be in a normal lease, if they were not paying directly, would be that as soon as you've paid it, you would then send the demand for in the next
Mm.
payment period. So it depends on how they're paying, because I don't know whether they pay yearly or,
Annually.
yeah, so that's the issue. If it was paying, if they were paying monthly, then they'd be claiming back what you'd paid either monthly or quarterly, but because they're only paying yearly, you can only claim it in that particular point. That's where the problems.
Under a normal lease, it would be in their name anyway, wouldn't it, really?
But they didn't have an address before, did they?
I can't remember.
No, they've only just got an actual postal address.
Right, okay.
Right.
So,
So is proposer, please?
Yeah.
Seconder?
Yeah.
All agreed?
Yeah.
Next one then is to discuss and agree to pay Bully Davy for tax investigation and insurance. So they've written to Jan
Oh, sorry, I just realised I should have declared an interest on the Harwich Bank one, shouldn't I?
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. I can put that in there.
So Bully David written, I don't know whether they're just trying to scare Munda or whatever,
Mm.
but the same as Inland Revenue doing loads of tax investigations at the moment.
It's a small premium though, isn't it?
120 plus VAT.
It's well worth it.
So, yeah.
The taxman gets involved.
But-
You
I
don't
did-
want to be going down that road.
No, I did say to Jan, is it worth asking Lauk if they do anything similar?
Yeah.
Because they might
Yeah.
be able to get
Yeah,
a
it'd be
group
worth it.
purchasing price.
Mhm.
Good idea.
And
Or
there is
what
a-
about our
there's an
own
insurance.
insurers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be also.
So
Yeah.
We get some
60
ideas,
quid.
Yeah.
yeah, get three, because
Yeah,
then we'd have 3 quotes.
exactly. Yeah.
I know we don't technically need to,
No,
because
but
it's,
it's-
but it's good practice.
Yeah, yeah. That's us into the hang of doing it as well, doesn't it?
Surprising what's included in our own insurance
Mm.
when you start reading it.
Mm.
So can I have a proposer and a seconder to change, to amend the agenda item, please?
Second. We might have that within our legal expenses policy with
With the
insurance.
radar.
Yeah.
Mm. Everybody agreed? So
Yep.
the amendment is to,
Investigate options.
Mm.
thank you, the options with 2 other providers. And could I have a proposer and a seconder for that, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, seconder. Right. Everybody agreed?
Mhm.
Thank you.
To agree to pay the Countryside Charity £36 for our annual membership.
Now the only question I have, I think something did come through earlier about the Countryside Charity and they were doing some seminars and stuff, weren't they? But what do we actually get from the annual membership?
A magazine.
Okay. Is it worth £36? Do we need to do it or?
I don't know, I didn't set this up, it was just something.
Yeah, I mean if the
inherited.
money goes to charitable stuff, fine, but if it's just a membership for us to get seminars, you know, newsletters, etc., then if we're not utilising it, then
Yeah,
I think, to me, in all the time that I've been on
I've never used
council,
it.
I've never seen any correspondence from
Okay.
them whatsoever. We've had no, I mean, like other things that we subscribe to, we get things coming through
Yeah.
and then you circulate them to, I've never seen anything.
Perhaps we need to review
And if
what
it's,
we're getting out of it then.
yeah, I mean, yes, it's for a charity, but if that charity is not supporting projects within our
Mm.
area, then is it something that we actually
See, I'm
going to benefit from?
first time on my process.
Mm.
Yeah, let's just find out what they're doing.
Mm.
Something worth it.
so
Not a lot of money, it's not. It's
Does the
principal.
magazine
Yeah.
sit in the office then, or where does it?
I normally put it where all the documents are there to be signed, I put anything there that is of interest to anyone.
Mm. But with no one being in recently. it's
Yeah, that is
really
the
difficult,
problem,
isn't it?
yeah. So investigate what we get.
Yeah.
When does it need to have to be renewed?
I think, I'm not sure.
Or is it an automatic renewal?
It's not an automatic, we have to send off the money, so. Can I have a proposer and a seconder to investigate, please, this is an amendment?
I'll second.
All agreed?
Yeah.
And can I have as for the amendment, then can I have a proposer and a seconder, please, for the actual? Isabel, thank you.
I'll
Seconder?
second.
Thank you. Agreed?
Yeah.
Sorry. Right.
So next one then, number 52, items for discussion and agenda item requests. I haven't got anything, because I think we're doing really well at the moment, so.
We're just going to keep the usual budget reviews and stuff
Yeah.
like that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, I know it's a little way off, but I know you were keen to get your budgeting started, weren't you? How are we going to go about that? Are we doing it in the same way as we've done previously, where chairs feed into the process, but do it much, much earlier? which I know you started off with your
Yeah,
sheet,
yeah.
but are we doing one-to-one meetings or are we feeding it all back into this
I
meeting?
think we should be fed back into this meeting and then,
Because obviously we've got your sheet for the bigger budgeting
Yeah.
stuff, but then probably a bit closer to the time we need to be thinking about, at least we're doing our budgeting reviews. So for example, like with the play equipment maintenance, we've spent more than we budgeted for. We can use the actual figures to make sure we're budgeting an accurate amount rather than, and then there's some that we haven't used at all because they're kind of surplus now, so we can adjust that. So that'll be a bit of a process, but.
and also, just before the meeting, didn't you, about reserves?
Mhm.
We're supposed to have 50% of our
Yeah.
income as reserve, and
We know we
we've only got a third of it.
Yeah.
So we've somehow got to build that back up.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
What do you want to do? Do you want to set up meetings with UI and each chair?
I think so,
And
yeah.
then feed that back?
Well, I asked for the end of August, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first year.
That was just what I was thinking really, you need to be, I know it seems like a long way off,
Yeah, it's
but
gonna come
actually
round though,
from
won't it?
September, really
Yeah.
you need to be getting together and organising where you think there's going to be some spend that needs to be added in.
Yeah,
And where you've probably gained a little or gone over budget or whatever, and understanding it a lot more, because else it's quite a large piece of work to do at the last minute, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, sooner the better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we call it for an end of the meeting or?
Right. Next meeting is Monday the 6th here, and it's 18:31.